Hey guys, welcome back to the Truth Pages. It's your boy TTP, back with another video for you guys. Now, I want to do a full in-depth video about the C word, okay? I have to be careful what terminologies I use, but we all know what I'm talking about when I say the C word, okay? The mainstream media is not telling you guys the truth, okay? They're lying to you. They are fear-mongering and trying to keep you in a constant state of fear. But today, my intention with this video is to put those fears to rest and to prove to you that this is not what the mainstream media is saying, and that 5G is really the culprit behind this C word. And I'm going to show you guys that today. Make sure to pay attention. There's a lot of information in this video, but it's very important, and you guys need to understand that the mainstream media is not telling you the full truth. They're only telling you what they want you to know. And I'm going to bring you the facts today. So let's go ahead and let's jump right in. TTP, let's go!
Because of the way the government auctions off our wireless spectrum, U.S. consumers pay a lot more for wireless data than anybody else in the world, and the president wants to change that. He also wants to use these changes in parceling out spectrum in a way that's going to help us lead the way in 5G technology. The president tweeted out earlier today, "I want 5G and even 6G technology in the U.S. as soon as possible. It is far more powerful, faster, and smarter than the current standard." Loop Ventures managing partner Gene Munster joins us now. So, Gene, as simply as possible, because this isn't very easy, but make it simple. Can the president combine lower internet costs while putting us in the lead for 5G?
Unlikely to provide lower internet costs is likely to help accelerate the rollout of 5G. And David, if I can quickly talk about that, is that there's this auction process that you talked about. It's complicated today. The government runs that auction process. What that means is this is the tower companies and the carriers getting spectrum to provide this service. So there's a way that the government can make that easier, which will help get these licenses, which help kind of roll out. There's also a hardware piece to this, which the government maybe can help facilitate and fast track, maybe even give some financial incentives to the tower companies to build 5G. But as far as the ability to actually lower internet costs, the way that that could happen is this, is right now your cable company really has you. And it is difficult for either a cable or your DSL provider for you to find another way to get internet. It's this duopoly type of an approach. So there's a lot of control around pricing. But 5G is fast. It's wicked fast. It's somewhere between 10 and 100 times faster than current 4G, and would be faster than your home network today. And where the opportunity to lower pricing comes from just a simply more competition from these carriers, like, for example, Verizon and AT&T will be offering you broadband wireless service, and you get rid of that router at home and just run from the cloud.
This represents?
Tell us, sir.
I don't know, maybe it's the calm before the storm.
What's the storm?
Could be the calm before the storm.
What storm, Mr. President?
You'll find out.
AT&T is the nation's fastest 3G network, so you can download faster on your smartphone than Verizon.
With 4G from Sprint, I can download files up to 10 times faster than 3G.
Upload 10 photos in a minute. Verizon 4G LTE.
Get ready for more ads like those. The wireless industry is in a race to roll out 5G service. Now, 5G is supposed to be up to 100 times faster than current data speeds. Could have used it on Amtrak yesterday. But it requires cell phone tower equipment to be closer to users than ever before. And that is causing outrage and alarm in some neighborhoods as antennas go up around the homes. Tony DeCoppola is here with both sides of the conversation. Tony, lots of chatter about this. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. There's outrage, but there's also excitement. I mean, 100 times faster. But get this, wireless companies in the U.S. say they'll have to install about 300,000 new antennas for the rollout of 5G. That is roughly equal to the total number of cell phone towers built over the past 3 decades. The faster network could create new potential for work and play, but it's also leading to new concerns.
Go.
At a lab in New York, Verizon invited us to meet some of the entrepreneurs developing tools to run on the next generation of wireless technology.
How important is 5G to your mission?
5G is extremely important.
Jonathan Reeves demonstrated his product, our Vizio.
As you move around, the object stays fixed in space.
Look at that. That's amazing.
Allowing users in different locations to interact with 3D images projected through a lens.
Today we can do this using Wi-Fi technology, and we can do it using landline technology, but of course you're then tied to particular locations. With 5G now we can begin to extend this, so we can actually begin to start doing this on building sites. We can start doing it on the factory floor. So it really opens up a whole new world.
But before this world can become reality, this one needs to change. 5G requires the installation of new equipment across the U.S.
So this pole here is 5G. This is the future right here.
You got it.
Every wireless company is working to build its own 5G network. Melissa Arnoldi leads AT&T's efforts.
If you don't already have one of these in your neighborhood, they're coming.
That's absolutely right. They're coming.
She says 5G uses high-frequency waves that support faster speeds, but don't travel as far as current wireless frequencies. So instead of relying on large cell phone towers spread far apart, they need small cell sites that are much closer together.
We're going to use our existing infrastructure today, whether it's light poles, whether it's street lights. We're going to make sure that we don't make it obtrusive to our customers and to the citizens.
Yet some don't share the enthusiasm.
The cell towers are called small cell towers, but they're not so small when they're in your front yard.
Donna Barron is protesting plans to convert light poles in her Montgomery County, Maryland neighborhood into small cell sites.
This will cause cancer.
She was one of several people who raised health concerns at a government hearing last month.
This stuff is untested on kids. Their safety is not certain. These untested technologies are, at this time, not ready to be unleashed into our lives.
Cell phone equipment emits radiation, but research on its health effects has been inconsistent. According to the National Cancer Institute, a limited number of studies have shown some evidence of statistical association of cell phone use and brain tumor risks. But most studies have found no association.
If you lose this fight and a pole goes in right here, are you going to move?
Possibly.
Either way, Barron says she fears property values could plummet when 5G equipment pops up.
If a tower goes up right there, what's going to happen to the value of that home?
It could drop 20%.
And not only for this house.
Right, for that house, that house, that house. And then pretty soon you go around the curve and there's another cell tower. They're all through this neighborhood, so it's going to devastate the neighborhood.
Arnoldi insists her workers are focused on safety, pointing out they live and work near this equipment too.
Do you have any 5G antennae in your neighborhood yet?
No, not yet. I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for it. It's coming soon, though. It's coming soon.
So I'm guessing from that reaction, then you're very comfortable with it rolling out in your neck of the woods.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Wireless carriers have announced plans to roll out 5G service to a handful of cities later this year, but don't get too excited. To really take advantage, you'll need a 5G-enabled device, which probably won't be available until next year.
So our current phones aren't 5G ready?
They're not 5G ready. The pole outside your house might be 5G ready, but your phone is not.
Gonna have to upgrade. Tony, thanks.
Okay, so here we are at 5GAppeal.eu. I'm going to take a look at this article, and I'm going to read some of the article to help you guys understand the point that I'm trying to make here. And it says, 5G leads to massive increase of mandatory exposure to wireless radiation. 5G technology is effective only over short distance. It is poorly transmitted through solid material. Many new antennas will be required, and full-scale implementation will result in antennas every 10 to 12 houses in urban areas. It's kind of funny they said urban areas. It makes me wonder, are they talking about rolling out these towers in low-income areas that are populated by minorities? I don't know what they mean by that, but it's totally a plausible ideology that might be what they want to do, thus massively increasing mandatory exposure. With the ever more extensive use of wireless technologies, nobody can avoid to be exposed, because on top of the increased number of 5G transmitters, even within housing, shops, and in hospitals, according to estimates, 10 to 20 billion connections to refrigerators, washing machines, surveillance cameras, and self-driving cars and buses, etc., will be parts of the Internet of Things. All these together can cause a substantial increase in the total long-term radio frequency electromagnetic force exposure to all EU citizens. And if we continue to read, it says, harmful effects of RF-EMF exposure are already proven. Over 230 scientists from more than 40 countries have expressed their serious concerns regarding the ubiquitous and increasing exposure to EMF generated by electric and wireless devices already before the additional 5G rollout. They refer to the fact that numerous recent scientific publications have shown that EMF affects living organisms at levels well below most international and national guidelines. Effects include increased cancer risk, cellular stress, increase in harmful free radicals, genetic damages, structural and functional changes of the reproductive system, learning and memory deficits, neurological disorders, and negative impacts on general well-being in humans. Damage does well beyond the human race, as there is growing evidence of harmful effects to both plants and animals. Now, I want to show you guys something here that I think is very interesting to point out. It says the EMF Guideline 2016 states that there is strong evidence that long-term exposure to EMFs is a risk factor for diseases such as certain cancers, Alzheimer's disease, and male infertility. Common EHS, which is electromagnetic hypersensitivity symptoms, include headaches, concentration difficulties, sleep problems, depression, lack of energy, fatigue, and flu-like symptoms. Now, I highlighted this because this is very important to understand. They are telling us in this article that 5G can cause flu-like symptoms. Do you guys see what I'm getting at here? It's not the C word that's causing people to have flu-like symptoms. It is the 5G technology. But see, the elites are going to tell you it's the C word because they want to take your attention away from what it really is, which is the 5G. These masks that people are buying and wearing are useless. They will not protect you from the 5G. They will not protect you from the flu-like symptoms that come from 5G. The C word is not real. And this goes perfect with their plan, because what they can do is keep affecting people with the 5G technology and giving them flu-like symptoms. And when they finally develop the vaccine and they start injecting people with it, people will be affected by the 5G and they'll say, I have flu-like symptoms, and then they'll inject you with the vaccine, which is really the actual C word. You guys see how this is all gonna work? Stop listening to the mainstream media. They are lying to you. They will never tell you the full truth. The C word is not real. What's making people have flu-like symptoms is the 5G. It is the 5G that causes flu-like symptoms here. Stop listening to the mainstream media. The mainstream media tells you something and people just go along with it. They don't ask questions. They don't research it. They just go along with what they're told. Now let's continue. I want to show you this article here from rcwirelessnews.com. and it says Italian techos get ready to launch more cities with 5G in 2020. Now, this article is written January 6, 2020, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is because Italy is one of the countries right now that is on a total lockdown. A total lockdown. Now, let me show you this article real quick. Italian operators kicked off commercial 5G offerings in parts of the country's main cities during the second half of 2019 and have already announced plans to rapidly expand coverage during 2020. Vodafone was the first operator to offer commercial 5G services in Italy. The telco, owned by UK telecommunications group Vodafone Group, launched the technology in 5 cities across the country in June 2019. Initially, the 5G service was available in Milan, Turin, Bologna, Rome, and Naples. The company used equipment from Nokia and Huawei for the deployment of 5G. This is why people are dying in Italy. This is why Italy is on lockdown. The 5G is in full effect. It's in full effect in Italy. Now, here in America, we have not fully seen 5G being rolled out because 5G will lead to self-driving cars. 5G will lead to 5G compatible phones and other types of AI technology. Now, once they start releasing those 5G phones, once they start rolling out those autonomous driverless vehicles, 5G will officially be in full effect, and I guarantee you those flu-like symptoms are going to intensify in people, and more people are going to run to the hospital, and they will be injected with the vaccine, which is not a vaccine, it's really the C word. Do you guys see how this is all going to play out? Now let's go here. If you want to look at some of the other symptoms that come from radiation sickness, we have nausea and vomiting, diarrhea, headache, fever, dizziness and disorientation, weakness and fatigue, hair loss, bloody vomit and stools from internal bleeding, infections, and low blood pressure. So stop believing what the mainstream media is telling you. People getting these flu-like symptoms is coming from the 5G. And once they roll out the 5G phones and they roll out the autonomous self-driving cars, more people will develop symptoms. Then it'll get to a point where they're forcing you to take the vaccination. And you know what? I'm not taking no vaccination. I will fight them. Okay? I will punch people in the mouth and push people over if they're trying to inject me with some harmful substance that can eventually kill me. Don't let them inject you with anything. No vaccinations. If they try to inject you with it, you have a right to fight back because you don't want to die. You don't want to get sick. I'm telling you, I'm going to put up a fight if they try to inject me with something. So let's continue and let's get back to the video. So the next thing I want to talk about is the beautiful R&B singer Keri Hilson. She came out on Twitter and she started pointing out the truth about the 5G and the C word, and a lot of people made fun of her and dragged her and called her crazy, but what she was telling was the actual truth. Now, I'm not a fan of this girl's music, but she's extremely beautiful, and I'm really happy that she decided to take a stand for the truth. Let's take a look at what she said on her Twitter. So what Keri Hilson said is, people have been trying to warn us about 5G for years. Petitions, organizations, studies. What we're going through is the effects of radiation. 5G launched in China November 1st, 2019. People dropped dead. See attached and go to my IG stories for more. Turn off 5G by disabling LTE. She also says, why do you think the virus is not happening in Africa like that? Not a 5G region. There may be a few bases there, but not as prevalent as other countries. It has nothing to do with melanin. I gotta clap my hands for Keri Hilson because she's being 100% honest with us about that. And like I said, as 5G becomes more prominent and more used in America, you best believe it's going to cause a lot of problems and a lot of health effects. And a lot of people are saying stuff like, oh, I'm black, I can't get the C word. You know, just people, our people, you know, me as a black man, I know how, you know, black folks like to bring up, you know, race and say that our melanin protects us. Well, your melanin ain't protecting you from the 5G. So let's be clear about that. Let's continue. Now, I'm a big fan of The Simpsons. I've always watched The Simpsons, always loved The Simpsons. You know, it was one of my favorite shows growing up as a child. And I'm a big fan of the show, but one thing we all know about The Simpsons is that The Simpsons has predicted many different events that took place later on in life. The Simpsons predicted 9/11. The Simpsons predicted Trump's presidency. They predicted all these things. And in this clip I'm about to show you, it seems to me as if The Simpsons also predicted the C word. Let's take a look at the clip.
Please don't tell the supervisor I have the flu. I've been working with a shattered pelvis for 3 weeks. Mother, get an extra special hug ready. I bought you a new juicer. Good Lord, flu germs entering every orifice in my head. Happy birthday, happy birthday. What?
It was a groundbreaking ceremony for a new factory.
Did she mention seeing anyone who was sick? Anyone on a plane at the airport?
No, she said she was jet lagged.
The average person touches their face 3 to 5 times every waking minute. In between, we're touching doorknobs, water fountains, and each other.
Beth, no, go up to your room, honey. So we have a virus with no treatment protocol and no vaccine at this time.
You had a seizure this morning, Beth.
She had a history of seizures,
No.
allergies.
As of last night, there are 32 cases.
Unfortunately, she did die.
Right. I said, can I go talk to her?
Mr. Amos, your wife is dead.
What are you talking about? What happened to her? What happened?
Coronavirus outbreak of 2020. In 2018, the PureBright Institute was granted a patent for the coronavirus. The PureBright Institute is funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. On October 18th of 2019, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, along with Johns Hopkins and the World Economic Forum, hosted Event 201, a high-level pandemic simulation in New York City. The simulation, which was held just 3 months ago, was based on the coronavirus. They concluded that it could kill 65 million people and decided the solution was to have a vaccine within months of an epidemic. The same week that the coronavirus makes headlines, Netflix releases the docuseries Pandemic: How to Prevent an Outbreak, wherein the solution is vaccines and the trusted hero is Bill Gates. Meanwhile, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation fund Innovio Pharmaceuticals, Inc. to develop a coronavirus vaccine. It's weird, right? What about this? 5G, an emerging technology upgrade that has many countries concerned about its impact on human health. Experts from all over the world warn of the dangers of 5G. In 2018, it was reported locally that Wuhan would be the testbed city for full 5G network operation in China. The article went on to say that it would be fully operational by 2020. And on Halloween of 2019, they turned it on. Scientists warn that 5G causes flu-like symptoms. Interesting? What is also interesting is that when trying to share the link of 5G being launched in Wuhan, Facebook blocks you from doing so because it violates their community guidelines.
The world is aching for this information, and they're looking for answers to all these problems in the world. Are you feeling that more than ever?
Oh, big time. I was looking around and observing people and observing events, and it was very clear that although there was not this vast number of people that were saying, oh, there's a conspiracy or whatever, they were uncomfortable about the world. They were uncomfortable about what was happening. They couldn't articulate why they were uncomfortable, but they didn't like it. They felt uneasy about it. And so I started out on this speaking tour to basically say to those people, this is why you're feeling uneasy, because this is why these events are happening. They're not random, they're happening by actually long planned design. And when people hear another explanation of the world, which instead of presenting the world as a series of random dots, but actually connects them and says that's happening because of that, and that's happening because of that, and that's connected to that, and that's connected to that, and this is where they're all leading us, it's extraordinary to see the lights go on, and people go, and actually this makes far more sense than what I've got from the mainstream media. So it is a time of great challenge, because this thing is moving, not least into the technological level of control. Because the more they observe the real world that they're told to believe in, the less sense it makes, the more ridiculous it is. So there has to be other explanations, and people are more open to them. 5G is a weapon. It's used by the military. Do you know these 5G millimeter wave technologies are used to scatter crowds? You know, they drive up in this technology when they want to scatter a cloud, and they put out these frequencies in a much higher power than 5G will be initially with us, but the same frequencies. And people scatter because they get the feeling their skin is on fire. Because the human body, including the skin, is an antenna. It interacts with frequencies, and it receives and transmits information. At the cutting edge of understanding of DNA, scientists know that DNA is a receiver-transmitter of information. And so we are electromagnetic, electrical organisms, transmitters and receivers of information. When our electromagnetic fields are in balance and harmony, we have health. We have psychological health, and we have physical health. The reason that this technological society is causing so much psychological and quote, physical disease is because these frequencies, technologically driven, and we live in this Wi-Fi world now, and all the phone masts and all the rest of it, these technologically generated frequencies are scrambling the balance of the human electromagnetic electrical communication systems. And if you scramble them, you create a state of disharmony, dis-ease, which plays through to physical and mental, emotional, psychological dis-ease. I say this to kids and anybody else. How long could you live without your smartphone? And then ask, what is an alcoholic? What, an alcoholic is someone addicted to alcohol? Yeah. Why is he addicted to alcohol? Because he can't stop drinking it. Yeah. But you can't put your phone down. And if you do, within a few minutes you pick it up again, because you're addicted to it. So are you controlling that bit of technology in your hand, or is that controlling you? That's controlling you. So do you want your life controlled by a bit of technology? Do you want the rest of your life controlled by it? Or are you now going to go, I'm putting this down? The brain processes information electrically. It communicates with the cellular structure electrically. And it operates within a certain band of frequency. If you can broadcast frequencies carrying information, this technology has long been known, carrying information and perceptions within the frequency that the brain decodes information. The brain will decode those frequencies and will have those perceptions. You can externally, even without connection to AI, although that's the piece de la resistance, if you like, that's the kind of holy grail. But even before that, you can influence people's perceptions externally by broadcasting these frequencies that we interact with, because we are antenna. If technology is going to be the servant rather than the governor, it has to serve the interests of humanity, and humanity does not have to serve it. We're in a situation now where humanity is serving technology.
The same week that the coronavirus makes headlines, Netflix releases the docuseries Pandemic: How to Prevent an Outbreak, wherein the solution is vaccines and the trusted hero is Bill Gates. Meanwhile, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation fund Innovio Pharmaceuticals, Inc. to develop a coronavirus vaccine.
The agenda for sustainable development. They recognize that ending poverty calls for transforming our world through strategies that build economic growth, address social needs, and ensure environmental protection.
In the year 2015, the world will adopt a new set of goals for the next 15 years of sustainable development. How will projected changes in the world's population affect our ability to achieve these new goals? The world will witness many demographic changes over the next 15 years, but different regions and countries face different demographic circumstances and priorities. In some countries, the total population will grow, while in others, it will decline. One thing that all countries have in common is the need to plan for population aging. People aged 60 and older are now the world's fastest growing age group.
Probably aware that different apps on your cell phone can track your movements. That location data is commercially available along with other personal information like your social media profile, email address, and date of birth. But what the Wall Street Journal has learned is that the government has also bought that commercial data and is using it for some forms of law enforcement.
Two components of the Department of Homeland Security are using this app-generated marketing data for law enforcement purposes. The fact that there are millions of cell phones and cell phone locations in this database makes it one of the larger domestic surveillance efforts that we've become aware of in recent years. It raises a lot of questions among Americans about their privacy and what kind of information corporations are collecting on them and what those corporations are doing with that information.
This is how it works. You get this pop-up and agree to let an app use your location. A travel app may want it to suggest nearby hotels or airports. Rideshare apps want to know where to pick you up. But often, those apps are also sharing your location with marketers, who are using it for targeted ads, research, analysis, and even reselling it. But what we found is that in some cases, that consumer data is being resold to companies that buy and sell data for the government. According to people familiar with the matter and documents reviewed by the Wall Street Journal, the Trump administration has purchased a database that maps the movements of millions of cell phones in the US.
I urge you to stay connected to family and loved ones through the video chats, phone calls, social media, and other safe technologies. I urge you to stay connected to family and loved ones through the video chats, phone calls, social media, and other safe technologies. Please be sure to follow CDC guidelines, which can be found at coronavirus.gov.
I want you to do your research on this shit. Too many clues that I'm not even gonna be able to fit in this video. I mean, Wuhan, China, Huawei, whatever, that company, the biggest cell phone company in Asia, said that they were going to help the victims in Wuhan, China, in the hospital by putting 5G inside their hospital.
So look, that's pretty much all I have to say. I wanted to bring you guys the facts. A lot of people are in a state of fear because of what the mainstream media is telling them, and they're not telling them the real truth. Don't waste your money on these masks. Don't buy these masks because they're not going to protect you against 5G. So just know that this is coming in 5G. We cannot stop 5G, but there are probably certain things we can do to protect ourselves, and I would suggest looking into that. I will be doing the same. So I hope this video has been very informative and helps you guys understand the truth and what you're not being told. I thank you guys for watching. This is TTP. Have a good one. God bless.